The Great Resignation continues across the country with thousands of employees leaving their jobs. Many don't have a new job waiting. CEO and founder of the LaSalle Network, Tom Gimbel, is here. Great having you here every Monday. It's always good to get info from you.
Good to be with you, Micah.
4.5 million people leaving their jobs voluntarily in November, a record high in 2 decades of tracking. That's unheard of.
It's crazy, but we are at a really weird intersection right now where people are worried about their children. They're worried about whether their kids aren't in school. They're seeing inflation. They are hearing about inflation. They're hearing that other people are quitting. There's a lot of talk. And when that happens at the same time as the stock market until the past couple of weeks is at all-time highs and companies are growing, people get confused, and sometimes they make decisions that may not always be the best for their long-term career.
Psychologists say that quitting is contagious. You know, they see their coworker leaving and think, well, maybe grass is greener on the other side, and then they go there, but it doesn't always turn out okay.
That's absolutely right. Is that too often people see that somebody else leaves and they start to wonder, is there something here that's not right? And they think, well, if it's good enough for Sally to leave, maybe I should go too. And that's not always the right thing to be doing.
My mother always say, my mother always say, don't throw out old dishwater before you get new.
I think that's exactly right. And what we're in is a situation that you don't want to be the last person standing when the music stops, right? And so what we're seeing right now is the stock market starting to dip a little bit. Inflation's going up a little bit. And I think this economy is going to be great for a while. However, I think unemployment will tick up a little bit, and I don't think the employee is going to be in such control as they have been over the past year or so.
So what should we do? What should folks do? Okay, I want to leave, but should they just, you know, if they want to be self-employed, I guess they should just leave. But if they want to work for someone, they should check it out before they turn in that resignation slip, right?
Yeah, what the employee needs to do is think about, why am I quitting? What don't I like? Do I like my boss? Do I like my coworkers? How much money do I think I should be making more? Is money really an issue? Do I have any emotional security here that if something goes wrong in my life, this company will stand behind me? You got to look at the totality of the situation, not just my boss is being mean or one coworker quit or I didn't get the raise or the promotion I thought. You got to look at it in its totality and then make a decision about, have you been happy during the years that you've been there? Do you want to be a job hopper? And where do you want to be 18 months from now, 2 years from now? It does take time.
There have been a lot of success stories, though, for folks who've left without jobs already waiting for them.
Well, there's always success stories for people who drop out of college and they start companies, but no one wants their kid to quit college.
Right.
You know, there's always a success story. We don't hear about the failures because those aren't broadcast on the cover of magazines and in the news. You hear about the success stories, but you have to have eyes wide open and be able to realize of what could go wrong. And you don't want to eat into savings. You want to make sure that you have benefits lined up. You want to make sure that you're in a place that keeps your brain fresh and charged and emotionally vibrant. I mean, there's so many aspects to what a career gives beyond a paycheck on the 15th and the 30th.
The job market is pretty lush right now, though. So this would be a good time to resign and leave if you wanted to.
Yeah, if you're going to pick a time to quit with nothing else to go do, now is the time of your lifetime. However, just because it's 95 degrees out and the Chicago River looks warm doesn't mean I should jump off the bridge either.
I was reading an article that says, you know, during the pandemic, there were all sorts of different banana bread recipes. Each were different, but they still tasted the same. So just like with every person, your recipe for finding another job is not going to be the same as Sally, as you mentioned earlier, who left. And they should realize that.
I think there's no doubt. What you said is really important, Micah, and that is that also the Sally may be married to somebody who makes a lot more than your husband or wife or partner or what have you. They might have a different kid situation. They may have a new car that's not going to break down next week. They may not want to go on vacation for a month next year. There's so many different, their mortgage could be bigger. There's so many other pieces that go into the puzzle. They could have parents that give them money to help pay the bills.
Right.
You don't know what somebody else is going through. You've got to look and say, What did I like about my job before? What's changed? And look at it from a clear lens when you're not having a bad day. The worst thing we can do with our careers is make emotional decisions.
You got that right. Tom Kimball, thank you so much, founder and CEO of LaSalle Network. Be safe, be well.
Stay healthy. Thanks.
You too.